if you don't know us by now, my name is Karina May, and I am co-founder of I Do Digital with Hayley. A bit of background about myself. So I'm a digital consultant and have worked in digital for the past 7 years. I got my start in magazine publishing. That's where I met Hayley, and that was well over a decade ago now, and we clicked straight away, and kind of always had dreams of starting our own thing and showing people that they can do these fixes and lots of the digital marketing themselves. I worked at a business called serviceseeking.com.au in-house, where I learnt all SEO skills and digital marketing skills, and have applied that now in my consultancy business and also with I Do Digital, helping you guys. So that's a bit of background about me.
Yeah. Okay. And so over the last 6 years, I've had 2 successful baby wear stores, online stores. And the way I learnt to do web design is that I was on a self-hosted platform called BigCommerce, and I thought there has to be an easier way than paying a premium to a company per month. So as well as developing those 2 brands, I learned how to do web design and development many years ago, and all on WordPress, and I've sort of skilled up into lots of different areas. And I have a massive passion for helping brands and helping them get their start. And so I'm the webby geek, I guess you could say.
So you're self-taught. So I think it's actually great, that you know how easy it is to learn yourself.
Yeah.
And we're a relatively new business as well. We only formed midway through last year. So we do understand, I guess, a lot of the budget restraints and a lot of the issues that do crop up for new businesses. So we like to think that we, understand a lot of your issues and can speak directly to them, as opposed to larger agencies or bigger companies that have been around for a while, and, you just become a number. So we're straight on the ground. And if you're not already in our I Do Digital group, our Facebook group, jump on in there, because we are always in there. We're lurking around every day, offering free digital hacks and tips, and there's lots of other members in there as well that can assist you. So that's www.facebook.com/groups/I Do Digital, I think, Hayley.
Yeah.
But we can post it after this as well. So jump on in there and join as well if you haven't already. But yeah, that's enough of an intro, I think.
I know, that's us in a nutshell.
Us in a nutshell.
So, has SEO got you all crazy like, I think the word SEO can freak a lot of people out. They know that they need SEO, or people tell them that they need it, but they don't exactly know how to get it, what they need to do. It's just, an essential element as part of their digital marketing solution. Or they have a website, okay, well, I need to work on my SEO, search engine optimization. I mean, that's kind of where people get stuck and where to start, right?
I think you look a bit more frazzled than this lady, though. She's straight from my stock and she looks groomed. So yeah. I think you're probably more like this one.
And if we click on good old Britta's
here. We made a special little gift. So this is, she's looking quite nicer. But, she's vintage Brittany, but I think a lot of you can probably still relate to this Brittany episode. Maybe it's a computer instead of your car there, and you're wanting to
throw your computer out the window.
Yeah, throw it out the window, and you're just so frustrated. You're not sure where to start.
Yeah, and, you might get told to do simple things like upload a Yoast plugin or blog more, or very simple things like add keywords. But, yeah, it's sort of all these buzzwords just fly around that don't really make a lot of sense. And what we want to do is to be able to explain that, you don't need to be like Brittany. You could be like this lovely lady here.
Office woman.
Celebrating that she's getting somewhere.
Office superwoman. I don't know that we want to be exactly like her. We may be
celebrating in the office.
Yeah.
Oh, my keywords are ranking.
We want to be more like this, I think.
Oh, yeah. So, as you can see, the very, very top is a paid ad, and then the next link down is, very front page of Google at the top.
So that's an example of a number one ranking in organic search, which is, organic search is another way of saying SEO. So that basically means non-paid traffic. So if you're at the number one spot, that's what it looks like in Google. And that's when you should be celebrating, because that obviously gets all the clicks if you're at the top. But, you want to be at the top, because at any point, Google, and this is the whole point of this webinar as well, can kind of basically change the rules and decide that they're going to stack some more ads at the top of your page. And depending on the search, that's kind of already happened as well. So ranking 1 in SEO could actually mean that you're ranked maybe 5 down the page. So it's really important that you master your SEO so that you are that number 1 ranking spot for organic search, which actually might mean that you're only number 5 on the page because of nasty Google and making money and all the paid ads that are stacked on top of you. So that's why it's super important.
Yeah, and paid advertising is, we'll get into it a little bit later, but it's really super expensive, especially for those starting out who may not have a budget. And so, organic search is one of the cheapest ways, and we're going to show you lots of tips and tricks of how to get there.
I always recommend with, so it's called AdWords. So Google advertising is called AdWords. I recommend that, for businesses that are a bit more established, that already have their sales funnels set up. If you're paying for traffic, you want to make sure that you know how to convert your traffic. And at this beginning stage of business, and Hayley and I know this firsthand, is that you're doing a lot of experiments, and you don't want to be paying for your traffic beyond your time. And SEO does take some time to set up and invest in once you know what you're doing, but you don't want to be wasting all this money on advertising only to not kind of understand the type of traffic that you're bringing in and where that's going. So that's why initially, you probably, apart from having a limited budget, you don't want to put it all into some paid advertising like AdWords.
Yeah, definitely. And also ranking for lots of keywords, right?
So, yeah, with SEO.
Yeah.
So first,
let's start at the beginning, like Marie.
Yeah, you have to sing it. It's a very good place to start. And that's on no wine as well. Imagine if I had wine.
Oh dear.
I think I sang a couple of bars before. So what is SEO? And we touched on this, but basically SEO, or search engine optimization, because SEO is the acronym, is about implementing lots of big and small changes to your website to make it friendlier for both users and search engines. So ultimately you rank higher in Google, like we showed you, and customers can find you. So they find you on the first page or the number 1 ranking. So I think the key point here is there's a lot of myths about what Google likes and doesn't like, especially in the old days. The keyword density, you used to have to count the number of words you had and make sure that you had 5% keyword density. So that means, a keyword for every, my maths is bad, but 500 words of text or something like that. Now Google is definitely tending more towards a great user experience. So basically, what's good for your user is good for Google. So if anything you take away from this webinar is to always be thinking about your user when you're writing content, and you're making sure that it makes sense and you're not stuffing keywords in the user flow of your website, the site speed, and we'll go into that, mobile friendliness. Basically, if your customer is going to like it, Google's going to like it more. So you want to make it friendlier.
On your site longer? Is that like bounce rates and,
Yeah, of course. So bounce rates is one of those things that's also an element of SEO. And that's really because, Google is looking to see whether or not a visitor likes your site. And a good indication of that is bounce rate. So bounce rate, if you have set up your analytics to your website, which I recommend that everybody should, you should have those metrics and have a look to see how long a customer firstly stays on your website, and secondly, if they bounce at all, which means they visit and leave straight away, which is indicative to Google that they haven't found what they're looking for on your website, which again tells Google that whatever keyword they're displaying your website for, perhaps they shouldn't, because there's not a match there. The customer hasn't found what they wanted. So, a site that's not optimized would probably have bounce rates over 50%, depending, of course, of the industry and what you're selling, and you're looking to get that bounce rate down and be aware of that. So that's definitely a factor of SEO, but it really boils down to the user friendliness of your website. And a lot of these changes that, you need to make to optimize your website can be non-technical. So that includes a lot of the buzz keywords and blogging, but some of them can be pretty technical too. As I said, making your website load faster. There's a few elements involved in that: size of your images, your server, how clean your code is, so the back end. So that's some of the technical stuff that can get a little bit scary, I think, for people, but also they're not understanding that they're putting all this work into their keywords and their blogging, and why their site isn't ranking well. They're not even aware of some of the technical issues that could be going on. So that's kind of an overview of SEO, in that I think when you look at it, it seems like it could be really technical, but if you think about it just being for the user, it really makes it a lot easier for you to digest. Well, me anyway.
Yeah, so it's basically a big open door for users and therefore Google to your website. And, as long as you can make the website as, open the door as long as possible and have it, user navigation and fixing all these on-page and off-page elements, that will improve that experience.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And that's why interlinking is so important, which means linking between pages, because you don't want your visitor to leave. So if you can have a blog post that's connected to another page that's maybe connected to your product page, and you really want to create a nice journey and user flow.
Right.
And I mean, in SEO terms, people would say, make sure your interlinking is sorted. We don't want too many outbound, inbound links. And I know that most business owners that are new to this are thinking, what are you talking about?
It's a good point, actually. I've heard that.
Yeah, it's really just interlinking to try and keep customers on your website. So if that's all you take away and you look at your website and review that just for that in itself, you're winning. You're ahead.
And it's so easy, just adding links.
Yeah. So why SEO? This is a bit of an obvious one to me, but just to cover it off for those that are still kind of going, why should I be dedicating time to this? So SEO basically helps you show up or rank higher in Google. So without SEO, your website might not even show up in Google. And that's a common issue that I do see. People come to me and say, my site's just not ranking. I've had it for a year. And the first thing I check is whether or not the website is still in maintenance mode, or it's telling basically Google's robots not to come and index a website, which means show it for search. So that's literally checking a checkbox in the back end. But again, if you're not technical and you haven't built your own website, you might not know that your web developer hasn't unchecked this box or has added, a little message to Google bots to say, please don't come and visit the website, which makes complete sense when the website's being built. You don't want a half-built website out there.
So it's a temporary measure.
Temporary measure.
Yeah,
but as soon as you're ready to go, you want that little bugger out there. And I mean, Hayley, is obviously a great web developer, and we work closely together. And she always has SEO considerations at the back of mind, and certainly would never do anything like that. But there's a lot of web developers that aren't skilled in SEO, and they're paid to do a job, which is to build your website. Obviously for you, unless you're just using it as a business card or to look professional, you need your website working for you, which means getting found in Google. Your web developer's not thinking that. He's like, I've delivered the 8 pages, you've got a homepage, your contact us form works, or maybe it doesn't.
There's no, if there's no, ongoing strategy, I guess, and making sure.
Yeah. And so SEO helps grow the number of returning visitors to your website as well. So if you can improve the appearance of your website, your visitors are going to see it more, and they're going to remember that they've visited you before and come back more regularly as well. So you want to be everywhere. You want to be ranking kind of for every combination of keywords. Even if they click through to the 5th page, you want some posts there as well. You just want to dominate to make sure that you're not missing out on any potential customers. And the most important part of SEO is that it's free. So as we discussed, it's a lot less expensive than investing in AdWords or pay-per-click. Unless you're, paying an agency to manage for you, the only thing that's required is your time initially to get skilled up, to get a basic understanding and a strategy. And there's lots of things that you can roll out yourself, and we're going to go through some of those things. So it's really the best channel for new businesses starting out or small businesses to get their website noticed.
Because I think, the reason you'd even invest in learning about SEO is ultimately to bring in more sales or leads, more inquiries if you're a service-based business, and more sales. So the little bit of work that you put in can have long-term, I think, benefits.
Yeah, totally. So now it's time for a little story, a little website called Petite Bamboo. So this is one of, we mentioned at the beginning of the webinar that Hayley has owned 2 successful baby wear e-commerce stores. One of those was Petite Bamboo, where she sold baby bamboo clothing.
Yeah.
Is that right? You can probably talk about your own business, Hayley. I don't know why I've taken over. I've got the need.
Oh, that's right. It's fine. We're a team. So I set up this baby wear store. I've got 3 kids and set up this baby wear store. I designed the website, I designed the clothes, etc., etc. And I basically set it up and wanted I wanted to choose which types of advertising I wanted to invest in. So I invested in Facebook advertising and I wanted to optimize my site. Those were the 2 channels I thought to start with. So with Facebook advertising, it was super, super expensive. And it's mainly the way I drove customers to my store.
So you got conversions, but it was costing you.
Yeah, I mean, it ate into the bottom line in my profits.
Yeah, which I guess in
effective,
e-commerce as well, there's not a huge return on investment for each product sold. So you have to be really, really optimized with your advertising.
Yeah, for sure. And I had to spend a lot of my own personal time optimizing the Facebook campaigns. Still worthwhile, but I thought, you know what, I'm sure that I can figure out this SEO gig. So I consulted with Karina and...
lucky she had, the bat phone or whatever it's called. And we got together and nutted out some strategies.
Yeah, that's right. I'm lucky I had her because I started to, the tables turned and I ended up ranking for bamboo baby wear and I'm still ranked on the first page for that.
So you've since sold the business. So at one point you were ranking number 1 for bamboo baby wear.
And I still am.
Oh, so I think ranking number 1 and now it's still page 1. We checked it the other day because you don't own the business anymore. So we're not sure what type of SEO maintenance they're doing. But, that's paid dividends. And that's the thing about SEO. You invest now and the business owner who now owns your business doesn't know, the strategy that went into that.
So lucky her, really.
Yeah.
Lucky for me that I had you. And so I stayed on page 1 with this little bit of time I invested. I mean, I picked my top keywords and one of them was baby clothes online. I didn't quite make that keyword because it is highly competitive.
Yeah, and we'll go into the different types of keywords that you can target as well.
Yeah, so the point is once I sort of started to rank for these keywords, then I didn't have to spend any money on advertising. It was more sort of mild maintenance. I'd have to just check in there and make sure that everything, the keywords were still updated and, different strategies. But yeah, I ended up slowing down my advertising with Facebook, and that meant that a lot of my customers, I would say more than 90% of my customers found me by simply, from Google search.
And so how much time would you say that you dedicated to setting everything up? And Google loves fresh content. We know that. If no one knows that, Google loves fresh content. So how much time do you think it took you to get your strategy kind of up and running? And
couple of hours a week, I'd say. Yeah. So I just, I used to go Friday afternoons where I'd sit and do, I would sit and, concentrate on this and follow Karina's big, large email that she sent me of all the strategy.
I've gotten a lot more efficient now as well. I don't think I even dot pointed it. I think it was just chunks of my thoughts.
This is what you've got to do, and this is what you've got to do, and check this, and check that. Yeah.
Hey, it was a side hustle,
I know, but great, and very grateful, and paid off. So, yeah.
So your options, I guess, if you are wanting to get your site ranking in Google organically, is, well, firstly, you can decide not to do anything. And,
at all.
Sometimes business owners will say, I haven't done any SEO and my site's ranking here. We've got a good friend who's an accountant and she's got a great domain name and she's ranking locally number 1 and she says she hasn't done any SEO. That was because she was lucky to get a great domain name with a great keyword. And unfortunately, that doesn't have the weight that it used to. So you can't, buy Accountants Manly and just assume that you'll be ranking number 1 for Accountants Manly. That's called keyword match domains. And Google now is getting smarter than that. So, they don't want to just give the number one ranking to that website, because what if it's a really crappy website and a poor user experience? Touch on that user experience point again. So, there is a chance that you can do nothing and get found, but the more updates and algorithm changes Google rolls out, it's getting smarter. That's not going to last for very long. You've got to put some effort in order to maintain a ranking or get ranked in the first place. So your other option is to pay an agency or a consultant a monthly fee to manage your SEO. And as I mentioned, I am a consultant, so I do this for SMEs. It is obviously not the most affordable option if you are just starting a business, and obviously there's lots of expenses, but it gets done this way, so that's another option. You might not be, aware kind of what's being done all the time and not completely be across it, but if you choose a trusted provider, then that could work fine for you. Or you can try and work it out yourself and go the DIY option, which is what Hayley did with Petite Bamboo. So Hayley, hiring an agency, and I'm not going to talk to this because obviously I'm a consultant, so I'm probably going to tell you that it's butterflies and rainbows and
yeah.
But from a business owner's perspective, Hayley?
Yeah, so I've researched and
that was a bus,
dealings.
By the way, if anyone heard that.
We're on the city.
Yeah.
So with hiring an agency, it obviously can be expensive. I've hired them in the past with previous businesses, and what that can often do is talk in a lot of technical jargon where you don't understand what they're doing, and I think that that's to kind of cloak, or justify their monthly fees. And I sort of I can see the benefit in hiring an agency to do it for you. If say you're time poor and for it to be completely taken off your hands, but essentially you're paying. If you're hiring an agency, you're paying for their overheads, and you're also you're paying for somebody's time. So it doesn't mean to say that if you do it yourself, it would be any different. You're just hiring an expert to do it for you. So you sort of relying on them for results, and really nobody can control, how your site's, if your site will rank in Google. All that you can do is implement everything the right way, with the knowledge to know how to do it. And at least if you have the foundation, all the knowledge, the foundational knowledge of SEO, then you're able to, if you end up outsourcing this at some point, you have an understanding of their services.
Yeah, I think because agencies, they speak technically because they are technical, and a lot of agencies don't make an effort to try and communicate what they're doing to business owners beyond a monthly report, which, is often just the action items that is probably updated, robots text file, or, so stuff that as a business owner you might not understand because you're not doing it every day, and reports with some graphs of traffic, which is hopefully increasing, but you don't actually know that there's another lever that can't be pulled. You might not know that there's some broken links on your website, and because an agency dedicates just a certain number of hours to you every week, or actually even every month, they can't be as attentive as you are or you would be to your own business, because at the end of the day, no one cares about your business as much as you do. And that sounds horrible saying that, because I invest a lot in my work. I go above and beyond, or I like to try and do that. But at the end of the day, it's not my business. Yeah. And I'm not going to be, staying up crying at night about things. But, as a business owner, you do. And, we know this from iDigital as well. No one cares as much as you do. So, and you're also kind of at the mercy of them kind of knowing when they send the reports and that sort of thing. And again, I am a consultant, so it's hard to kind of say that, but I can see both sides.
And there's also different, obviously, types of agencies. You're a trusted consultant, but there are lots of dodgy agencies out there that really don't do anything, that they will take your monthly fee and really not do anything at all. So
I guess even if the webinar kind of sparks some questions, if you already are engaging in an agency and you're on this webinar to kind of, I guess, get empowered and understand the right questions to ask, and I don't know, even if we alert you of one thing to check, and just kind of that might even help pull their socks up if you're unhappy with the agency. But yeah, look, agency is a way, but again, yeah, you have to have a marketing budget.
Yeah. So, DIY, it's obviously a lot more cost effective. So I think that having an education into SEO means that you can put all the pieces of the puzzle together to do this yourself and actually map out a plan for your business. So even coming down to keyword research, you want to be able to, your industry, you are your business, and I think it's very important to learn it yourself. It does not happen overnight. So crooks will tell you that you will rank on page 1, within a few days.
Run a mile, if someone says that. It takes, at least a few months to 6 months to start seeing some results. And I'll put that out there right now. Like, if you're expecting instant results, unless you've already started some SEO strategies and you've done keyword research and you're already at that point, if you're starting from dot now, it's going to take some time, but then you'll be able to reap those rewards forever, if you're selling a business.
So, it's a constant work in progress, and it's kind of like chipping away as you go along. Yeah. It's not going to take all your time, just a little bit. And it's obviously cost effective, because once you know it, you know it, I guess. So
when DIY doesn't work.
So you're doing things because you've read and been told you have to, but you don't know why.
Like your friend of a friend got page 1 by doing this.
And you've probably heard all
Chinese whispers
that you need to just put up a blog. And if just putting up a blog will mean, that you're going to rank, it's so much more, there's a lot more moving parts to it. Yeah. That you can't prioritize or work smartly because you don't know what's actually important. Because I think SEO can become one of those things of where do I start, and there's everything's everywhere and you don't even know which path to go down first. I hear that a lot, right?
Yeah, you might, because that's the thing, someone's told you to read this blog, and as a smart and savvy business owner, you want to get skilled up, so you do all the right things, or what you think are the right things, and they are the right things. Like, you are reading SEO articles, you're attending webinars like this, you're in SEO groups, you're asking questions, but that doesn't mean that you have a strategy. It means you have awareness, which is great, but it can get a bit muddled and you can end up a bit Britney-like.
Yeah.
Completely just kind of, where do I start? I don't really even know what's important. If I only have an hour a week, how should I be spending it? Because I'm just not seeing any rewards from the effort I'm putting in so far. So why should I spend any more time?
It's so true. I mean, I don't know about you, but I often get to the point where it's information overload. So I have to really think about where I want to invest my time. And, there's so many forms of different advertising, SEO, forms of marketing, I should say.
Yeah, channels,
yeah. SEO is one of them. And you really just have to pick one and try not to be overwhelmed with it, I guess. Pick who you want to work with, whether that's us by teaching you, or, coming to these webinars, or reading our blogs, or, or whether you want to go with an agency or a consultant, whichever way, but just, I guess, pick a path and then take it and, just understand it is a slow process, but and a little bit of commitment.
So DIY doesn't work when, I guess, you don't have a strategy, and you abandon things before you see the results. I think a lot of times, poor SEO, because of bad agencies and black hat SEO out there, but also because it takes time and you need to stick at something for a while in order to see the results. And I don't know about you, Hayley, but I get motivated by analytics numbers and metrics and seeing traffic increasing and all those good things that you do get from SEO, but you might not get straight away. Yeah. So I think it's important to set up other markers, metrics like bounce rates, or zeroing in on one particular blog post that got a lot of traffic, which might not have contributed to an uplift of traffic across the website, but if you think I'm going to continue to duplicate this same type of post, that's going to increase my traffic. Looking at the small wins so that you don't abandon things half done. Like a lot of times I pick things up and think, if you'd actually continued this way, you were on the right path. So don't lose faith, which is difficult when you're not seeing the numbers straight away.
Yeah, and sometimes you might get lucky and you'll start ranking quite quickly for keywords, and that's purely by making these small, simple changes. But generally speaking, yeah, it just takes time. And if you don't have Google Analytics set up, then you're not able to track things to then be motivated to do more of those things, whether it's blog posts or whether it's adding keywords to different areas of your site.
And there's other metrics that you might not know about. Like every website gets given a domain authority, which is a score, and that is generated by email software called Moz, which is really reputable SEO software. It looks at a bunch of SEO factors and gives you a number out of 100. So most websites, when they start with a 1. And then you can build that once you start optimizing your website, particularly with some link building, keyword enhancements, a whole bunch of things. And you can see your score start to climb. And they release new scores every couple of months. So it could be that you do this work on your website and you see your DA go from a 1 to a 7.
Exciting.
But you haven't seen your traffic change yet. But that DA is indicating to you so that you are actually on the right path and you're doing a good job. Because otherwise it would stay at a 1. I've seen plenty of new websites stay at 1, hover at 1. If you have been doing SEO for maybe 6 months, a strategy, and you start from 1, you can get to 16 pretty easily. Obviously, sites like Google and Facebook are in the 90s. But if you can get your website, to get to a 30 or a 40 domain authority, you're doing really well. And you should be ranking for some keywords if your domain authority is looking that good. So basically, domain authority, if you are tackling exactly the same SEO strategy as a similar website in your industry, targeting the same keywords, and your domain authority is higher than that website, you will automatically rank higher for those keywords, even if your websites look identical. So good. Stuff like that, knowing where to look and how to stay motivated.
Yeah, for sure. I'm motivated by results as well.
Yeah. And I mean, it helps. Like for us, obviously, we're business partners. So when one of us is down, like, no, stick at it. Like, I actually think we can keep going with this strategy. Like, it's worth staying up till 9 p.m. writing another article for the blog. Oh, but no one's reading it. Oh, actually, no. I looked at the clicks. And, it's easier when you have a business partner. So whatever you can kind of find to keep you motivated, stick with it. So DIY doesn't work when you give up too soon, prematurely. Yeah,
a little bit of commitment.
Oh yeah. So this guy kind of says it all. I think
we were like that today, right?
we were very hamstering. We're at the point now where the hamster will kind of shifts a little bit forward as well, but then probably shifts back as well. But you feel like you're doing all the right things. You're getting home, like you're already so busy with everything else you need to do in your business.
Actually, running the business,
running the business,
doing the work,
doing everything. Like unless you're lucky enough to have staff already, or outsourcing some tasks, or have a virtual assistant, but you have limited time, and you want to make sure that that time is dedicated to efforts that are actually going to pay off, and you don't end up like this little guy. So our big secret. So for anyone who noticed, the SEO webinar was called Secret Sauce.
Yeah, Secret Sauce.
Something like that, Hayley.
Yeah.
So these luscious lips are going to tell us the secret, which is that SEO is not a one-size-fits-all approach. So if you are reading all the blogs, implementing all the strategies, they might not be the right ones for your website. Like your website might be fine in those departments and lacking in others. So keywords is something that comes up time and time again. Maybe naturally you're targeting the right keywords. Maybe you don't have site speed issues. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach. And if you have limited time, you need to make sure that you're dedicating it to the right areas. And every website has different strengths and problem areas. So the best way for you to start out with an effective SEO strategy is firstly identifying or uncovering what's going on with your website right now. So you have to do that before you can take any action or roll out any fixes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I mean, this is just, I guess, the graph representation of the hamster. And your traffic is stagnating. I mean, this poor guy's actually gotten worse. Somehow he's gone backwards.
What's he done?
He's probably changed the URL structure of a couple of blogs and created broken links. I don't know. Something like that. So, you're dedicating time, but it's not in the right areas. And so you're flatlining, basically.
Yeah.
This is the worst graph you want to see in Google. Like, you did not want to see this. That is demotivating. I would give up.
No.
Hayley.
So it's not just about what the cool kids say, keywords and blogging. So you would have heard that over and over again, but really, what does that even mean? There is so much more to SEO than just those two things. Of course, they play a role, they're very important, but what I've discovered is there's lots of little moving parts with SEO and ranking. So, yeah, there's so much more to it than just that. And I think when you have an online business, that's the first thing you're told by a lot of people because...
Well, I guess it's the easiest thing to understand.
Yeah.
That's probably why.
Especially with the technical elements, they're much more complex.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's something that they think business owners can do right now. And you can, but I think also there's a lot of misdirection and you jump to it before doing your research because you think you know what people would be searching and you produce content that you think that your customers will want. I mean, that was the whole point of my email yesterday, asking everybody, hey, what do you want to hear about? Because chances are, whatever you're going to tell me, you're popping into Google as well. Like, that's what you're searching. So I want to produce content that I know that you want, not assumptions.
Yeah, because you may assume that you know what the keyword is, but you might be surprised by some of the long-tail keywords. And
well, that's a big word, Hayley. We'll get into that.
Yeah, I'm getting all SEO.
You've learned a lot.
Yeah.
Look at me, I'm so proud.
I know. Oh, little guinea pig. So, yeah, I think that, it's just so much more than that.
Common SEO considerations.
Yeah, so does your website look good on a mobile? I mean, when I had my baby wear store, when I went into analytics, I was really surprised to know that 98% of my traffic came from mobile.
That's really high.
I know, it is right.
Yeah.
I could not believe that.
So normally it's maybe 60-40 as a split, 60% coming from a mobile device, which includes tablet. But I mean, you think about everybody commuting on their phones.
Think of the devices, desktop, and then think of the comparison to desktop. And so because it was baby clothes, bamboo, I guess mums would be up late at night breastfeeding, I don't know. And then, I sort of knew that key piece of information. So I made sure, I'm a developer anyway, but I made sure that the tablet version was really good. I love the iconic
checkout.
Yeah, I just think it's really simple, and I was always aspiring to make sure that it was super simple to check out. So looking good on a mobile was definitely played a role. And had I not known that, I mean, I always knew that it was heavily weighted as a wild guess, but that information drove me to make sure that I had a super good mobile.
And that's back to the user experience thing.
Exactly,
And even if you're not at the stage of being able to optimize your shopping cart, perhaps, I don't know, you might be on a self-hosted platform that has limitations, or maybe you can't spend the money to get a web developer to have a look at your shopping cart experience. What you want to make sure is at least your blog content is optimized so that people can read your articles on the bus when they're clicking through from an email that you sent. The last thing that you want to do is have them clicking through to something that doesn't render properly on a mobile device. And we've suffered from that. We've just, redone our blog because it was very difficult to read on mobile. And I don't actually care what Google says about that. I don't want users to have that experience. So we just get the flow-on effect of Google also, looking at our site more favorably because we've rolled out that change.
Yeah, and also how fast does your site load? So you want a zippy fast website because that, users have a very short attention span. You probably can relate to this. If a site's a bit clunky and doesn't load properly, frustration city, and then you're just going to get on out of there.
Yeah.
So it's important to make sure that, you're, and there's lots of tips and tricks around this, but just to make sure that your site loads properly. And, I mean, the last thing you want to see is images that take forever ever to load, and that you know that it doesn't come from.
Nobody waits around for that. You just
No.
click out and I'll just go for the next listing. So,
And apart from it being unprofessional,
yeah, even if you happen to be
Yeah.
ranking in Google for a slow site, you're wasting that visitor to your website the moment that they get there, and the site takes 5 to 10 seconds to load.
Yeah.
I mean, ideally, you'd love your website to load in 1 second, but Google, looks favorably on websites that load in under 3 seconds. So 1001, 1002, 1003, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
After that, I'm off.
Yeah.
I mean, I've already got multiple tabs open, so I'll just jump to the next tab and
Back on the iconic, shopping.
click on the Bachelor.
Yeah. I know, bugger online. So, yeah, and are the right keywords being picked up? So today I was, doing some website reviews, and I noticed that a whole lot of images were incorrectly labelled. So I could only imagine what Google was picking up and ranking for. They were kind of just... The images were labelled just as the numbers and all kinds of different words that didn't make sense, that weren't labelled correctly. And I think that, overall the whole website, the right keywords were just not... I mean, the site hadn't been optimised.
Yeah, so Google can't actually look at what they're called. The image is actually called, the name of the image, but we'll look at the alt image tag, which is generally associated with the image name. So it will pick up that keyword. And if that's called something like logo, because your logo is on the header of every web page, logo might be the highest count keyword on your website, which means you've got the most keyword density for the keyword logo. Unless you're a logo designer, and even then, that's such a head keyword, which we'll go into, but you don't want to be ranking for logo.
It's
so
specific,
why are you wasting good space? Oh, it pains me.
I know, and that key real estate, really. So, and so what is your domain authority, which we've been into?
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, and do you have enough content on your homepage, have you looked at the overall messaging of your website, and, is there enough content for Google to pick it up?
Yeah, so I think, again, there's a lot of wives' tales about this one. People say there's got to be a certain amount of content on your homepage, but really, there's just got to be enough content on there to communicate your message.
Yeah.
So that customers know what you're all about. They know that they've arrived in the right place. Again, they're not going to bounce out, which will affect your bounce rate, which has the flow-on effect to SEO. So whether that's, it could be mixed media. You could have a mixture of videos and images and copy, whatever it takes to create a really good homepage. But I guess we see lots of, or you would, Hayley, see lots of splash pages, websites that are one page or just have an image. That's the type of website that Google wouldn't be ranking because there's not enough content. But in terms of you need to have 499 but not over 500 words on, those rules, those days are gone with Google. But I look at your homepage holistically, and can a user understand what your website's about? Because if it can, then Google most likely can too.
Yeah, and users will then navigate through, I guess.
Yeah.
And not just click off after scrolling down or across.
Yeah.
And then do you have any Google-friendly URLs? So we've just developed the new website for Ida Digital, and we had to make sure that we had the right site structure, the right URL structure from our old website to our new website to not lose the ranking that we already had.
Yeah, and that also transferring, you don't want any broken links if you change the structure.
Yeah.
But in terms of, if you're an e-commerce store and you're loading lots of products to your website, it defaults to numbers, I think, Hayley.
Yeah, and the permalinks, so it's changing the permalinks to the right, so the right category and then the right maybe subcategory.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people actually ask about keywords and products. That would be a whole lot of keyword research if you're researching the right keyword for every product. So the best thing to do is actually just call the product and build your URL, the page, with a keyword that makes sense. If it's a blue sweater, call it a blue sweater. So stuff like that. Google penalizes dashes and numbers. Basically, I mean, this sounds bad, but anything ugly, like ugly, you could do an audit of your website right now and have a look to see if anything looks ugly. Ugly URLs, you can spot them a mile off. Like, you don't have to be a trained SEO to know. But
sometimes it even defaults to the date. So yeah, it's important to cover across that.
And broken links as well.
Links,
So as we said, we're doing a site transfer at the moment, and you need to make sure that if you're doing that, you put redirects in place, which is basically telling the old page to load the new page. But just be wary that if you decide to change the title of your blog, for example, a couple of months down the track, which you might want to do if you're repurposing your content and it's evergreen and you're distributing it again. That's another webinar. But, be mindful if your page title of your blog is connected to your URL structure, and you change the URL, and that other link of your old blog post has already been indexed in Google, which means it's already showing up in search results. And perhaps, if you're doing really well for yourself, someone's already linked to it. That link becomes broken the moment you change your blog title. So just be wary of that. And I think we just skipped duplicate content as well. Which,
okay.
Yeah, so that's, you don't actually get penalised by Google for having duplicate content, but Google's official stance is it looks unfavourably on duplicate content. And then one question that I get asked quite a lot is, again, if you're e-commerce and you have a product in multiple colours, how do you get around the duplicate content issue when the product description isn't changing much? Well, you can get around that because Google won't penalise you for it. Like, it's smart enough to know, okay, this is an e-commerce site, they've got multiple products. So it's basically looking at duplicate page titles and meta descriptions, which is the little description of your page and what your page title is called, and lots of big chunks of copy repeating itself. So if you have a partnership with another website, you can't just give them the same article you've already published on your own blog. You have to write something unique. So that's where duplicate content comes into play. And I see a lot of business owners get bogged down with duplicate content issues with product pages. It's not something that Google penalises.
It's not a big issue.
No, he's smart, that guy.
Good old Google.
So how do you see how Google is viewing your site right now?
I love this little hack.
Yeah.
So if you go into site : and then your website.com, you can actually see all like the links and how Google's picking up your pages and the meta descriptions, and it's basically a breakdown of your website ranking and what pages look, how it's all looking in Google.
How it's appearing and how many pages Google is picking up. So there'll be a little number at the top that will say, 150 pages have been indexed. And straight away you know whether or not, because you know your website, if that number sounds right. Like if you have thousands of products and it's only picking up 150 pages, that's a concern.
Like something is is it a no-follow on some of those pages, or there could be other issues?
It could be issues. But, or it could be other way around where you have a membership site and you know that you've only got 8 public pages and suddenly you're seeing all of these pages showing up in search results. That is for locked content, only available to paying members. So, just also a hint, if you type in site : mywebsite.com, whatever your website is, or .com.au, and it's not appearing, try the different variations. If you try, some websites are www, and some have been redirected from the www. Some have the HTTP, you might have to put the full thing in, or if you have a secure website, an SSL certificate, which Google also likes, it's HTTPS : if you have any issues with that, you can ask us after or jump into the group and ask us. But, you definitely should get search results for some combination of that, or there's an issue.
And you might be surprised that of the results. So we've done that and actually seen, some results where there's Latin. And then don't worry, we've been there ourselves where we've done, when we were first starting out and we'd first finished our website and we did this test, and there's a whole lot of dummy pages up and being crawled by Google.
I love finding things and uncovering things because it just has potential to fix things.
Yeah.
I know that sounds really nerdy, but you don't want to be perfect now because we're looking to optimize. So it's fun when you uncover things.
Yeah.
And you realise I haven't set my page meta descriptions. You know? I've got to go do that.
Yeah.
And this is a fun test, Hayley.
Yeah, so how mobile friendly is your site? So you can go into this cool little URL. So you go https://testmysite.withgoogle.com and then
I'm going to read out the URL.
INTL. It's great, really. It's 9:20. What am I doing?
What letter's that? It's like an eye test now.
Yeah, I know.
Our screen's quite far away.
I've been at the dentist. No, not the dentist.
The optometrist.
The optometrist. Okay.
And she hasn't had wine. Basically, like Google has tests. So this is a third party, Test My Site. I like this one because you can do mobile friendliness and site speed at once.
Yeah.
Google does have its own tools that you can go and test, which they provide for free, and this site's free as well. But it's definitely worth jumping in and testing to see how you perform.
Because there's lots of different browsers as well, and your site can look vastly different from one browser to another, or might be optimized and looking correct on one browser, but looking completely out on another. So this is a good site
and
too.
Talk about phones, Android. I find all the different versions, 5, 6 now. You know.
Yeah. This is worthy doing this exercise.
And that's another good reason to having analytics attached to your website, because you can see information like the common browsers and devices used to view your website. So you can make sure that maybe you can't get it looking nice on all of them, but you can get it looking nice for the devices that are commonly used to view your website.
As a good start, for sure.
And so what are your best keywords? You can use a keyword density tool.
Yeah, so you can use this tool to look up the most common keywords and phrases on your site. So it takes a scan of your site and will pick up what people, what words are ranking the most?
No, I mean, so what words are organically appearing? So, like, what words are, as is in your alt image tags, in your text, just naturally? So, it will just, I guess, like a word cloud. So, it will tell you which ones are most frequently used.
And then you can decipher which ones are,
Yeah, so we've done the example for ID Digital, and you can see we've said digital 19 times, WordPress 11 times, SEO 11 times. So, from our word cloud or our keyword density, it looks like, that is a good representation of kind of what our business is all about. If you do this test with your website and you start to see like logo, as we discussed at number 1, then like convert to PDF, or that's another one I've seen, or just random numbers, that you definitely have to work on your keywords, because are these the keywords you want to be targeting? If it's logos, if it's convert to PDF, no. So what happens when keywords are displaying that don't look like they are representative of your business? You have to do research to find the right ones. And that's where I think a lot of business owners fall over. As we discussed, they assume what keywords their visitors might be searching and don't actually do the research to find highly targeted keywords that have monthly search volume. So that basically means how many times people are searching a particular keyword every month. That's monthly search volume.
Yeah.
So you want to pick keywords that have search volume that are popular and people are searching.
So it takes a little bit of research, right?
Yeah, so keyword types, a lot of people don't know that there's different types of keywords. We just hear about those popular buzzword keyword kids.
I think people think it's a single word, right?
Yeah, so they can be. So there's kind of 3 types. So there's the head and top level keywords. So they're the ones that are most competitive. They have lots of search volume. So, 2,000 to 3,000 monthly searches perhaps in Australia, something like baby clothes. But they're also the most competitive because there's a lot of people that have been executing SEO strategies for years and years and years to get them ranking number 1 positions for that. So depending on your industry, I'm going to put a blanket statement out there and say it's difficult to get your head keywords and to get ranking number 1. Then you have what's called body keywords. And as you said, Hayley, like they're more than 1 word. So instead of keywords, I like to use keyword phrases. So they've got less competition, but it also means they've got less search volume.
Right.
Because, you're getting into phrases and there's lots of variations that you can make with phrases. So an example of that is designer baby clothes. So just that extra word. And monthly search volume for that is 500 to 1,000 searches. And then the third one, which you mentioned earlier, Hayley.
Yeah, I just need my tail. So long tail keywords. And I guess they can be those sort of, adding a couple of little phrases, how you'd say it in a conversation kind of thing.
Yeah, it's definitely that. Like
cost of designer baby clothes,
Yeah.
how you've got to get into the psyche of your ideal customer and how do you think they would type it into Google. And I guess with this research, you can actually hone in on that.
Yeah, so normally longer than 4 keywords, kind of almost like sentences. So cost of designer baby clothes as an example. There's less competition, but that also means there's less search volume. So you might not get as many visitors, but you also get the number 1 spot. Whereas, those 2,000 to 3,000 monthly searches mean nothing if you aren't on page 1, which you probably won't get to. I don't mean to be Debbie Downer, but so monthly search volume of long tail keywords can be between 10 to 50 searches per month, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you add up a whole bunch of those and you're targeting different long tail keywords for different blog posts, 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10.
All adds up, right?
It does all add up. And this also speaks to motivation. So you can get ranking for some long tail keywords pretty quickly with the right strategy. So you get some quick wins straight away, or you can be the little hamster on the wheel still going after those top level keywords and kind of not really getting much traction.
Yeah.
So, long tail keywords, got a little swishy tail there.
Oh gosh, where did you find him?
I think it's a brontosaurus. I was going to get a rash, but it just, I was like, I want
a little bit neater.
More appealing. So that's where I see, that's a special extra secret for the webinar. They're a huge opportunity and they can form the basis of your content strategy because as you can see with like the long form, long tail keyword, it's almost like a theme for your blog article. And I forget to mention that long tail keywords frequently have more buyer intent associated with them. So rather than just someone typing baby clothes where they could just be looking for pretty pictures, normally it's like cost of baby clothes, which is showing that they might be more in a purchase mindset.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So long tail keywords can actually drive 70% of all website traffic if an effective strategy is rolled out. So that's the 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 formula.
Yeah.
So top keyword tips is use keyword phrases relevant to your business. That makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Avoid keyword stuffing, which we touched on, which is now called black hat SEO, where you're trying to just use keywords for the sake of it and it doesn't flow nicely in your copy. Weave keywords in organically. So what makes sense, put it there. If it doesn't make sense, leave it out. Use, related words. I was going to say that word, synonyms, but I can never say it, so I try to avoid it. And I just said it anyway. So like words. And research well to find the highly targeted keywords that have a monthly search volume that will drive traffic, but might not be as competitive.
Yeah.
So the 3 steps to DIY SEO success.
So step number 1 is obviously looking at how your site is performing right now. So, there's no point in implementing some kind of SEO strategy or a one-size-fits-all approach if you're not really honing in on exactly what is going on with your site and identifying, problem areas of your site and what's broken and what's not performing correctly and what is performing correctly. Just having some awareness around that. The second would be creating a customized strategy based on that audit. So once you know where you need to focus your energy and what you need to learn to, implement, those, how to fix those problem areas, you can't do that until you've looked at the basics and then you can create a strategy around that. And then once you've actually got the strategy, you've got your plan, it's all about executing it and being very consistent in your approach. And once you learn how to do this, you can execute it. You can say, right, I'm going to dedicate, a couple of hours every week and I'm going to smash this out over a few months.
Being methodical and not giving up too soon. Not giving up. We wanted to share with you a special announcement about our Google Domination e-course. Basically, it's how your site is performing right now and all the free tools that you need to kind of uncover the issues, including learning how to spy on your competitors and what they're up to. And the audit document that you put together will form the basis of your action items. And the special touch of this 6-week course is that I'll personally review all of your audit documents. I want to make sure that you have it right from the beginning before you start. I don't want you to end up like the hamster on the wheel. I want to make sure that you're basing all your decisions and your action plan off the metrics that is happening on your site right now. Week 2 is goal setting. So as we said, this helps with motivation. So I'll help you, work out how to track the right metrics to see when numbers are going up, even if you're not on page 1 of your head keyword yet. So all the important numbers that you need to decode the important numbers.
Yeah.
And defining realistic goals,
Yeah, so, defining these goals so you know exactly where you're headed. We're all about, time saving, and we understand that everybody's time poor and they need to just get back to their business. So, these goals aren't going to be too hard to reach. Often I have, just the way Karina and I work, I have a lot of plans and I was like, no, I'm going to do this, this and this today. And Karina's like, no, that's not going to work. That's not realistic. How about just this goal? This goal is achievable. And I was like, okay.
Starting small, ending up big. Knowing where you're headed. It's my motto. Week 3 is keyword research. So you'll actually come away from this module with a list of at least 50 keywords, prioritized by search volume, difficulty, and relevance to your business and with buying intent. So I'll show you.
Valuable.
Yeah, I'll actually show you how I do keyword research and what I charge, more than a few $100s for. So once you learn how to do this, you can probably sell your services to friends. I mean, I would.
Yeah.
So I'm going to also review everyone's keyword list as well to make sure that it's on track with what I would have done as well.
Yeah.
So you get the benefit of the output of the keyword research, plus learning how to do it yourself.
For sure.
And week 4, so a keyword list, and this is where a lot of strategies fall over because there is no strategy. You have a keyword list and then you don't know what to do with it. So week 4 is all about how then you implement those keywords, the best way to utilize them, how to update your page titles and meta descriptions. So you're not doing the site colon test and finding Latin meta descriptions in Google. So we'll devise a content strategy and I'll give you some SEO friendly copy templates. And also show you the best way to distribute and interlink, as we said, so to keep users on your site. Week 5, we're going to go back to the audit document and look at some technical stuff. So you might not know what H1 tag, sitemaps, robots.txt, permalink. You'll know all of those things at the end of this module, but also you would have fixed up a lot of these things.
So hopefully this isn't not too scary or too overwhelming.
So we're going to eliminate unhealthy links and broken links. And once we've done our technical cleanup, we'll do another health check to make sure everything is A-okay. And I will put a disclaimer here. There won't be everything that we can fix. We are lay people, even me. I'm not super SEO woman.
I think you are.
No. When it comes to technical stuff, there are some things that you need the assistance of someone technical like Hayley, a web developer, to fix. But we won't know that till we do the audit. And we'll fix as much as we can. And I will let you know if you will need some extra assistance anywhere on your website. If something can be left and it's fine, it's a nice to have, or if it's critical, you really need to get this fixed up. But we're going to do as much of the technical cleanup as we can. And week 6 is all about link building, which, as I mentioned, is really, really crucial for domain authority. So link building is now not about just getting lots of spammy links from as many directories as possible. It's about building real partnerships or content partners with like-minded businesses in similar industries so you can get contextual links back. So we devise a strategy of how to do that. Where should you start with that? And kind of, again, methodical process with how many you should outreach to every week and what are the numbers you should be shooting for. So all really practical stuff. This sounds bad, but I don't want to waste any time on schooling you on, in 1998, Google first released its first algorithm. So SEO 101 speak. We've given you a good overview now of kind of why you need SEO and what it is. But this course is really action focused.
Yeah, for sure. So it's not theory based, and we try to make it as fun and actionable and bite-sized little videos to be able to help you. And Karina's there to hold your hand. I'm saying we, but it's actually Karina. So
well, you might come in if I need your help.
So yeah, we promise it to be lots of fun.
So how do you join us for Google domination? So make sure, if you're interested, head to www.iddigitalco.com.au/Google-domination to register and sign up. And also, if you're not quite ready to take on the course yet, although you will be missing out on a whole heap of free traffic, make sure you jump over to our Facebook group, www.facebook.com/groups/IDA and we have heaps of free tips and tricks and SEO hacks in there and constant content. So all the information, if you're still not kind of sure what we'll be covering in the 6 weeks, you can jump on over to the Google Domination page and check out what's included, including lots of personal coaching by me, review of your audit, which is week 1, review of all of your keywords, output of 50 keywords, and literally so much more. It's definitely the type of course where there's a lot of hand-holding and not set and forget. So I'd love for you to join me. Again, limiting it to 20 spots, and that's just so that I can make sure that I give you the personal attention that both you and your website deserve. So I hope to see you all there. Now, go Vino!